Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Walking Dead Q&A. One episode left. Just remember, it's a 90-minute finale, so there's like an extra 30 minutes of footage. Or actually, technically, it's like an extra 40 minutes. A lot of you are also asking about the schedule for the rest of the year, like with the spin-off and when Walking Dead Season 6 is premiering. So I tried to work that into the Q&A. Just careful for spoilers, because there was actually one really big Morgan-related question that I wanted to start with. Looked mysteriously like the pair of glasses that Morgan was wearing. There are two big possibilities. One, Morgan got to Alexandria before the others did and was exiled. He was part of that exile group, got killed by the wolves, and those are his body parts. The other possibility, which I think is a little more likely, is that that's just a reminder for Morgan, and we will see his story during the finale. Even if he is dead, even if those are his body parts and he's already dead where we are on the show right now in the timeline, we will still see what happened to him. I would be so pissed if they just completely dropped his storyline. I don't think they're going to do that. Sometimes they get a little weird with the way they tell stories, so I think they're going to be jumping around in time a lot during the finale. Don't worry though, Morgan is coming, whether or not it be in flashback or in present day. He is coming. Here we go though, on to questions. Let's do the thing. Young Nation asks, do you think that whenever the safe zone gets attacked or overrun by walkers, that people like Jesse, Francine, and Aaron will become new members of the survivors? I definitely think that the groups will integrate much more in Season 6. Some people will totally die, but I do think that they will integrate by Season 6. Robert Kirkman said they were doing more stuff from the comics, so I'm really interested to see how fast they speed along to the other big locations in the comics. Alexandria Safe Zone isn't like the end point for the series. It's a big destination, but there are a lot of other big places from the comics that the show could go. I think it would be completely weird if they vacated the Safe Zone immediately at the start of Season 6. Next question, Chris asks, do you think that Morgan is going to join the group? Well, I mean, it really depends on whether or not that body, that chopped up body, is Morgan. I do think that he would join the group. If he's alive, he will join the group. Take that with a grain of salt. I'd love to see Morgan join the show full time, but even if he's alive and he joins the group, it doesn't mean that he's going to stay with the group forever. We'll have to wait till they finish telling this Morgan side story that's been going on in Season 5. I think if that turns out to be really interesting, if they write a really interesting end for Morgan, then I'd be much more willing to accept like a side Morgan plot going forward in Season 6, if he's still alive. And the same goes for other characters. If it works for Morgan, there's a good potential it could work for other characters too. The comics just have so many more characters that it's kind of like the second half of Season 4, where all the branching storylines. You get a lot more opportunities to see different places when characters branch off. Next question, Alana asks, so you're asking why is, Pete just have such easy access to alcohol? I think a lot of that has to do with his value to the group, or his perceived value to the group by Deanna. The funny thing about this Rick versus Pete stuff is that you can't argue for Pete without sounding like a Pete apologist. So I've been laughing a little bit watching people argue that Pete is completely necessary, and it's not such a bad thing that he beats his wife. Of course it's a terrible thing that he beats his wife. No one is worth that. I think what's going to happen is Deanna's decision is going to bite her in the ass. Technically, she's not wrong. They do need a surgeon. But remember Rick's broken window theory of society, which is kind of funny because he threw Pete through the window. Pete has been breaking windows, so to speak, in a metaphorical way for a long, long time now. What they should do is just force him to give basic medical training to a couple other people. Next question, Nikki asks, what did you think about Michonne punching Rick? Well, and a lot of people were really upset when she did that because he's her friend. I think she was trying to stop him from making things way, way worse. She wasn't siding with Deanna or Pete. She just wanted to keep Rick from doing something that they couldn't come back from. As it is right now, it's bad, but it could have been way worse if Rick would have outright killed him. So Michonne was actually trying to do the survivors a favor. Next question, Killing It asks, who in your opinion is the true leader of the group? Rick does take on Pete, but Carol did tell him to do it, and she sat out on the side. Could Carol be going for the leadership position? No, I don't think she's trying to outmaneuver Rick or manipulate him in any way. I think she only asked him to do it because she thought it was necessary. Sometimes it's hard to read what Carol's really thinking. If you remember when she was first talking to Deanna on tape and she called herself a den mother, I think she thinks of herself that way. She obviously wasn't telling Deanna all the awful things that she did as den mother. But I think in her head, she thinks Rick is the best visible leader of the group. He's the best person to lead the group. He's strong, people will rally to him, but he's also another tool in her arsenal for protecting her den of cubs, so to speak. She's not manipulating him in a sinister way. Pete definitely needed to go. Obviously things have gotten a little more complicated now, so we'll see how it plays out. I know a lot of people might argue that Carol could have just killed him herself, but think about how big he is. So it would have raised just as many questions as Rick throwing Pete through the window. Next question, Epic Games asks, do you think that Glenn or someone else from Alexandria is going to kill Nicholas? Or is he going to survive to season 6? Wow, I so hope he does not make it to season 6. I really feel like that would be a fun death to see in the finale. He kind of heard Sasha picking off walkers at the wall, so I'm hoping they tie him to the Sasha plot and she just goes apeshit on him. That would be a lot of fun. Remember what Glenn said to him too. He said, you don't go outside those walls by yourself again. Later in the episode, he went outside the walls by himself to get the gun that he stole from Rick. I feel like that's a clear sign something terrible is going to happen to him, but it's going to be like a really good terrible. You'll cheer for it. Next question, Jadarko asks, will Enid become Sophia from the comics? So for those that haven't read the comics, I don't really need to explain what she does. She's just like another young member of the group that hangs out with Carl a lot. I would like to see Enid come on the show in a bigger way. I think it depends on what they do with the character in the finale. There are a lot of people that are wondering whether or not she's going to be tied to the wolves, like if she's a plant, a wolves plant, and she's trying to infiltrate the community for them. Introducing her in a bigger way, like turning her into a recurring character, would be really interesting for the Carl character. So if they're planning on developing Carl, I think they need to have other people for him to hang out with. A lot of times what'll happen on Walking Dead, because the cast is so big, sometimes when they bring guest actors on, if they like their performance, if the producers like their performance, and they work really well with the other characters, then they'll continue to bring them on. Next question, Julia asks, do you think that Enid's going to be detrimental to Carl's survival? Is there room for love in the zombie apocalypse? That's funny. Enid seems like she knows what's up, so I think she will help Carl. I'll be really interested to see what they do in the finale. Clearly, it's going to be like a two-part situation, so I think things are going to spiral out of control with this Rick situation. I think Enid's probably going to help him survive whatever this wolves threat is going to be. The real question is she part of the wolves group, and is that how she helps him survive? Next question, Humzy Pro asks, when is Walking Dead coming back after this? So I assume you're talking about after the finale, when's it coming back in the fall? Remember, they're premiering the spin-off show during the summer, at the end of the summer. It'll be 6 episodes, so probably what'll happen is they'll run 6 episodes up to the first episode of Walking Dead Season 6. They haven't announced an official Season 6 premiere date, but it'll probably be the second week in October like it's always been. So just work backwards 6 weeks from that. That's the middle of August, so that's probably when the spin-off show is going to premiere. So get really excited. It's going to be like a full season, like a traditional full season of Walking Dead between the spinoff and the main show. Normally a full season of TV is 22 to 24 episodes. Thank you so much everyone for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. Don't forget, 90-minute finale next week. Be sure to subscribe to get my video if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing a double giveaway and I'll do some more bonus videos after my Q&A next week. So don't worry, there'll be plenty of Walking Dead stuff happening. They'll probably start making more announcements about the spinoff show. For the most part, people finish filming pilots by May so that networks can make decisions on whether or not they want to pick them up. They've already picked up the spin-off show for 2 seasons, but the first season, like I said, is only 6 episodes. I know it seems kind of weird. What I'm hoping is that season 2 of the spin-off will get more episodes. It'll be like a full 13 episodes. And big high fives to this week's giveaway winner, Spectra XZ. You win the Amazon gift card. It's a $20 Amazon gift card. Just message me on the back end of my channel so I get your contact info. While you guys are holding your breath for the finale to air, you can click here for my episode 15 video if you haven't seen it yet. And you can click here for my latest Game of Thrones Season 5 video. I did a Daenerys Targaryen video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, high five. I'll see you guys tonight.